Welcome to the deep dive. We look through different sources to pull out the key ideas for you, sort of cut through the noise.
Yeah, make it digestible.
Exactly. So today, we're going way back, looking at excerpts from Chapter 1 of the Chanakya Niti. It's all about ancient Indian political ethics, but also just really practical life advice.
That's right. And chapter 1, just this one chapter, it covers so much ground. I mean, principles of duty, sure, but also, who to hang out with, money, relationships. It's surprisingly broad.
It really is. So
Yeah.
our mission today is basically to unpack the most relevant bits from these verses, pull out some wisdom that might, still resonate or give us something to think about.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the very beginning, verses 1 to 3, they kind of set the stage, don't they, what this whole thing is for?
Yeah, they do. Verse 2 is pretty explicit. It says, studying these maxims helps you understand your duty, figure out right from wrong, good conduct versus bad. And then Verse 3 adds that it helps you see things in their proper perspective, which is interesting. And it's framed as being for the public good, the welfare of the community.
So it's not just self-help, it's ethical understanding for everyone.
Exactly. That seems to be the core idea right at the start.
And it mentions being selected from the various satras. What does that actually mean, satras?
Good question. Satras here probably means like established texts or bodies of knowledge, ancient teachings, scriptures, that kind of thing.
Good.
So it's implying this isn't just one guy's opinion, but drawn from, accepted wisdom.
Got it. So laying that groundwork, then it pivots pretty quickly in verse 4 to warnings, like who not to associate with.
Right. Straight into it. Foolish disciples, wicked wives, and getting too familiar with people who are constantly miserable.
That's quite a list. Why those specifically, do you think?
Well, you can sort of infer the reasoning, can't you? A foolish disciple is maybe a waste of your teaching effort, brings no real understanding.
Right, draining.
Yeah. A wicked wife, in that context, likely means constant strife at home, which is obviously disruptive. And being too close to chronic misery. Well, it can drag you down, too, affect your own outlook.
So it's about protecting your own energy and peace, almost?
Kind of an ancient version of setting boundaries, maybe.
And then verse 5 takes it up a notch. A wicked wife, a false friend, a disrespectful servant living with a snake. It says these are like death itself. That's intense.
It is really stark, isn't it? The common threads seem to be betrayal, disrespect, danger. A false friend is betrayal. A saucy servant implies chaos, lack of respect in your own house. The snake is obvious physical danger. And the wicked wife, again, points to that kind of deep, maybe emotional turmoil that feels like a living death.
It really hammers home how serious these negative influences were seen to be.
Absolutely. No messing around with the warnings there.
Okay, so after the warnings, verse 6 shifts to priorities, values. Save money for hard times, okay? Sacrifice riches to save your wife, but sacrifice both wife and riches to save your soul. That's a clear hierarchy.
It is. And it's definitely thought-provoking from our perspective today. The idea of sacrificing a wife feels, well, jarring.
Yeah.
But maybe the core message is about prioritizing your ultimate integrity, your, soul or inner self. That's the thing you protect above everything, even wealth, even key relationships, if it comes down to it.
So your fundamental self, your principles are paramount.
That seems to be the implication.
Yeah,
It makes
right.
you think, what are my absolute non-negotiables?
True. And speaking of money, verse 7 comes back to that. Save for the future, basically, because wealth isn't guaranteed. Even the rich can lose it all.
Yeah, classic advice. When riches begin to forsake one, even the accumulated stock dwindles away. It's a potent reminder that fortune is fickle.
Plan ahead.
Always plan ahead.
Oh.
Basic financial prudence, really. Timeless.
Okay, then in verse 8 changes tack. Again, talking about where you should live, or rather, where you shouldn't live. If there's no respect, no way to earn a living, no friends, no way to learn, get out.
It really lays out the basic conditions for a decent life, doesn't it? Respect, livelihood, community, knowledge.
Yeah, the essentials.
Without those, it suggests your well-being and growth are pretty much stalled. It's about needing a supportive environment.
Makes sense. And then verse 9 flips it.
Yeah.
What should be in a place you live, even temporarily? A wealthy man, a knowledgeable brahmana, a king, a river, and a physician. That's specific.
It is specific and quite interesting to break down. The wealthy man maybe signifies economic opportunity or patronage.
Okay.
The brahmana represents wisdom, spiritual guidance, culture. The king means order and security. The river is vital resources, water, transport, fertility, And the physician, well, health.
So it's like the pillars of a functioning, stable society for that time.
Exactly. A picture of a place where you could actually thrive.
Then verse 10 gives us the opposite, 5 things that make a place bad, things wise people should avoid. No way to earn a living, no fear of authority, no shame, no intelligence, and no charity.
Yeah, and these sound like indicators of societal decay, don't they? No jobs means hardship. No respect for rules means chaos. No shame suggests moral decline. No intelligence hinders progress. And no charity means a lack of compassion, a harsh society.
It's a pretty bleak checklist for a failing community.
It really is. Sort of the warning signs.
Okay, shifting gears now to relationships. Verse 11 gives advice on how to, well, test people. Servants when they're working, relatives when you're in trouble, friends in adversity, and your wife when misfortune strikes.
This is all about seeing true colors under pressure, isn't it?
Seems like it. Easy to be nice when things are good.
Exactly. Hardship reveals character. It shows you who's really loyal, who you can actually depend on when it, hits the fan. It tests the bonds.
And verse 12 builds on that, defining a true friend. Someone who won't leave you in need, misfortune, famine, war, at the king's court, or even at the crematorium. Wow.
That's a powerful list. It covers pretty much every kind of major life crisis, doesn't it?
Yeah. Personal, societal, even existential.
The loyalty described there is incredibly deep. A friend who sticks by you through literally everything right up to the very end. That's the standard being set.
It's a very high bar for friendship. Okay, verse 13. Back to choices. Don't give up something lasting for something temporary, because you lose both.
Right. The imperishable versus the perishable. Classic wisdom.
So like integrity versus a quick buck.
Could be. Or, real knowledge versus fleeting pleasure. Anything where you trade long-term value for short-term gain. The verse warns you end up losing the lasting thing and the temporary thing doesn't satisfy anyway.
A double loss. Makes sense. Keep the big picture in mind.
Precisely. Don't be short-sighted.
Now, verse 14 gets into marriage advice. Marry a virgin from a good family, even if she's deformed. But avoid beautiful women from low-class families, and try to marry someone of equal status. This feels very specific to its time.
Oh, absolutely. This is a clear window into the social structures and values of that era. The emphasis on family reputation and social standing, sometimes over looks, is very telling.
So lineage and social order were key.
Very much so. Marrying within your status was likely seen as crucial for stability, avoiding conflict, maintaining the social fabric.
Interesting glimpse. Then verse 15 lists things not to trust completely. Rivers, armed men, animals with claws or horns, women, and royals. That's a mixed bag.
It is. But you can see a kind of logic, maybe, from that time's perspective. Rivers are unpredictable, dangerous.
Right. Floods, changing course.
Armed men and dangerous animals are obvious threats. The caution about women, well, that likely reflects patriarchal views about unreliability or emotionality common then.
Okay.
And royalty, power struggles, political shifts. They might not be dependable allies. So it's about recognizing potential instability or danger in different areas.
A general theme of caution, maybe. Be aware of where risks lie.
Seems like it. Don't be naive about potential dangers.
But then verse 16 does something really interesting. It says, take value from unexpected places. Nectar from poison, gold from filth, knowledge from the lowborn, a good woman from a bad family. That feels almost contradictory to the previous points.
It's a fantastic verse, isn't it?
Sure.
Really insightful. It's saying, look beyond the surface, beyond the social prejudice, beyond the source. Recognize value, wisdom, virtue, goodness wherever you find it, even if the origin seems tainted or lowly. It's about discernment, seeing the inherent worth.
That's quite profound. Don't judge a book by its cover, basically, even if the cover is poison or filth.
Exactly. A really powerful idea about separating the value from the vessel.
Okay, and finally, verse 17. This one makes direct comparisons between men and women. Women have twice the hunger, 4 times the shyness, 6 times the daring, and 8 times the lust compared to men.
Yes, and it's really important here to frame this correctly. This verse presents a specific viewpoint from within that text, reflecting the likely beliefs and maybe gender stereotypes of that time.
Right, it's not stating a scientific fact.
Absolutely not. There's no empirical basis given. It's crucial to see this as a reflection of historical and cultural context, not as an objective truth about inherent natures. It tells us something about the ideas circulating them.
Got it. Acknowledge it's in the text, understand its context, but don't necessarily endorse it as accurate today.
Precisely. It's part of the historical record of thought.
Well, that brings us through chapter 1. It's amazing how much is packed in there. Ethics, relationships, money, where to live, who to trust.
It really is a whirlwind tour of practical wisdom, isn't it? Some of it feels incredibly timeless. Other parts clearly need that historical lens. But overall, a rich source of ideas.
Definitely. So for everyone listening, maybe think about which of these ancient ideas still hit home for you. Is there anything that feels surprisingly relevant today? Why do you think that might be?
Yeah, what endures? And maybe a final thought to chew on. Considering this was written centuries ago, what does the mix of still relevant and outdated advice tell us about human nature itself and how societies work? Are we fundamentally the same or vastly different? Something to ponder.